1,000 tech platforms, new tactics. Oh, should I get on Snapchat? What should we stop doing? And I'm curious if you can tell us from your experience things that you've deprioritized, that as you look to 2018, you're going to do less of. Because I know that with so many options, that's a question a lot of folks have.
Yeah, I think that less of. I think the great thing about all of the technology that's out there is it's really allowing us to see what's working, what's engaging people, and it's not just, I think, an old world of, for example, financial services where you're just constantly working to acquire, right? Like I'm just got to keep getting customers, and that's usually through like a lower funnel, direct mail, email approach. And we're finding that as we can target that even better, that allows us to maybe not do as much of that and be able to invest more in the stuff that we're talking about here, like the cafes and the events and the work we're doing in social. I think a couple of the things that we've done this year, we did coming off of the tour, we actually did trying to play into folks' life stages. We did a mapping your own career path theme that we brought to life in a couple of the cafes, and we did a CapX panel where we brought in folks from like LinkedIn, Zappos, to talk on a panel, and but that was only in one place, and we used Facebook Live to stream it so that folks could engage in it, and wherever they were, and we streamed it in all of our cafes across the country. And literally, that bumped us up over 100,000 likes on Facebook. It wasn't just like the impressions that we were looking at, it was that true engagement. So I think it's, figuring out how we can do more of that, more of what, content that really resonates with people, and less just like bombarding people over the head with the message that may not be relevant for them.
Yeah, it's interesting, and just picking up on that thought, for years, we had measured the marketing department based on MQL, a marketing qualified lead, as opposed to SQL, which is a sales qualified lead, right? And so you think that sounds familiar? I produced 1,000 leads this month for you. I'm an awesome marketer. Sales, these were all crap. Where's the gold? You sent me 999 crap leads, right? And so what had happened for the longest time with marketing is that they got measured at the top of the funnel, tofu, and they just kept producing more is better, and they felt good about themselves and went to bed at night. Sales was like, this is all garbage, I gotta pick up the phone and cold call. And so what's happening now with the ability to measure is to look at the conversion. And so sales would always say, I'd much rather have less leads from marketing if they had a higher propensity to convert. And so now if you can sort of judge marketing by the SQL standard, I'll take only 100 from you. But if 50 convert, I don't care about that 1,000 you used to send me. So going back to your point here, the old direct mailers. You'd feel good about sending out 100,000 direct mailers, and then 1% would respond, and then probably they would fall by the wayside, and your take rate was really 0.2%. But those were big numbers. And instead, I would guess, and if the data showed it, that the people who come into the cafe are a lot less, but I bet you they're a higher price ticket customer who engages more of your services in your bank. And so maybe only thousands show up to a cafe as opposed to hundreds of thousands through the mailers, but they're going to convert more at a higher dollar amount and do more business with your bank. That's how we can get more sophisticated here in the way we think about marketing.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things, sort of getting from that, from those large numbers of inbounds to a higher level of qualification is one of the things that we use a lot of the content for out of our events. So, we have the stories that we have from NASA JPL or from the CIA or from the Defense Department where they've told us about their stories. We use those in nurtures that we send out to targeted segments of those inbounds to bring them closer to us, both through those stories as well as through how-tos that we provide to people to just get them thinking about what they might really do with the technology, which then, sort of allows us to not lose that large number of inbounds because there was something there, right? But you're right, the salesperson might call them up and they're like, oh yeah, I don't really know what I'm gonna do yet, right? And then the salesperson goes, lousy lead, right? So to get them a little closer to thinking about, oh, I could use this for disaster recovery, just like, this, other government agency did, and that's what I'd like to do. So then they have something to talk about, and they've expressed interest, and it also tells the salesperson more specifically what they might be interested in as they get closer. As far as some of the things we're not doing, we're trying, and it can be tough. Those of you who do B2B probably know about this, but trying to do fewer of those things that the sales team says, we have to be there, the kind of the events where, and what I like about the culture at Amazon is that we're more likely to say, why do we have to be there? Give me a real reason for that, not just the have to be there. Because also we often find that a lot of those have to be there events, the salespeople really want it on the schedule, but then they don't really want to buy the plane ticket and go there. So that's one of the things that we're trying to redirect into more of the high impact activities.
One of the things that we're trying to do is better enable our employees to be stronger brand advocates. They are with our partner, or they're partnering with our clients every day, side by side with them, and we need to enable them to be better marketers and salespeople, to be able to share the brand, share what we do. And there's, I'm sure you're seeing a lot of kind of growth in this area, especially on this panel and out there as well in that area with a number of different platforms and ways that we can enable employees to better share our story, to do it in a safe way, both online and offline.
That's great. I want to get to some audience questions. I'm going to make one comment I think we have a couple mics coming around, but I think that metric around conversions is so important. And one of the things I've found that's really helpful is with so many metrics that you could use and things you can measure, simplifying it into 3 buckets I find works really well. What do people see, what do people say, and what do people do? So in terms of what do people see, we can look at impressions, we can look at reach, but also anecdotal, are they the right people? Then we can go to what do people say, engagement. Are they liking it? Are they checking in at the cafes? Are they sharing things positively? I mean, look here, right? People are talking about Fairfax EDA and Social Media Week, so we can measure the conversation. And then what do people do? Let's actually measure those sales qualified leads, not marketing qualified leads. I love that. And see if people convert to what they want them to do. So you can choose from a lot of different metrics, but sort of bucket them into those 3. And I think that it's kind of a nice way to simplify the strategy so that we don't get too confused. All right, I know we have some audience questions, so I want to turn it over to you all. Who has a question for this panel? We have a mic back here, and do we have another one walking around? We have one back here. So raise your hand, and they will bring you a microphone. Don't be shy.
Or we can just keep talking.
Or we can just keep going, yeah. Well, I'll ask, you have one? Oh yeah, here we have one up top. Took a second to get it up here. Okay, thank you. Yeah, right there in the balcony, front row. Tell us who you are and your question.
Hi, my name is Sheila Collins, and I wanted to understand, how do you determine the noise from the signals, and what kind of feedback have you received and used in social media to then take action steps to improve your services, products, and so forth?
Yeah, social media listening. There's a lot you can listen to now. I mean, easier than ever to listen to everything, but how do you filter through it and make sense of it?
Well, I have one. I'm responsible for our diversity and inclusion program across the board, partially because our customers are more diverse in the public sector market than they have been typically in the rest of the company, the customers we featured. And when we first put out the program, we started small, and we started with really just targeting women in tech, and our messaging was a little off. First of all, it's a little easier to listen to social media when it's really noisy and angry, and when it's tweets directly at your boss. But that was an example where we really